Coming up today, episode 218 of Husavik Heroes, we start the last week of this series with the first leg of the first knockout round, taking on Paris Saint Germain at the Maurizio Pochettino Stadium. Can we get off to a good start and try and keep this week going for as long as possible? Find out off the back of the intro. Welcome back to Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and if you are looking forward to the last week of this save, as mentioned in the intro, starting off with the first knockout round against Paris Saint Germain. And do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but we have gone forward a few months off the back of where we did leave things at the end of last week with our last few games in the group stage, as well as the draw for this first knockout round. If you did miss that episode, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. We've had no major departures in the European transfer window since then, so exactly the same squad more or less that we did have for the group stages of this competition. All the players that we did have registered for the first half of this year's Champions League are still there, and as well as that, our dynamics have gone back up. Everything excellent, not quite perfect, but very, very good, even though there's actually a few more players now who are upset at us for not letting them go to some arguably bigger clubs considering our stature at this point of the save. But our dynamics have gone up, and hopefully that means that we're a bit better here in the knockouts than we were during the group stage, of course, and we did draw 2 of our 6 games and did win the other 4, still went through in top spot from our group, but certainly not quite as good as we have been over the past few seasons of this save. But we are about to take part in the first leg of this first knockout round tie against Paris Saint Germain. We are playing on the second match day this time around. The past few seasons we have been down in that bottom half of the draw. It does mean that we've actually played a few less domestic fixtures than we have over the past few seasons. As you can see, we've just had the one competitive game leading into this first one off the back of our end of season break, and that was in the Delta Bakar against Lanier S, and we did have to put out a rotated team for that game, but still picked up a very, very comfortable 10-0 win in that one. You can see we've got Keflavik, Fram, Kordlinger and Grotta also in our group, but still very, very early days as we get a chance to win one more domestic trophy before this save does wrap up. But as you can see, a few games in between this first leg and the second legs, as we usually do. That second leg is going to come up in tomorrow's episode. But Paris Saint Germain, we took these guys on a few seasons ago now and got the better of them in a Champions League knockout game. Obviously a 5-star reputation club. They are currently still top of league, are certainly performing a lot better than they were last season, of course, when Grenoble did win the title, and it already looks like that they should win the title pretty shortly, already 16 points clear of the likes of Châteauroux, Montpellier and Grenoble on top of League, also getting rid of Maurizio Pochettino, who of course their stadium these days is named after, and replacing him with Roberto De Zerbi. Does look like it is doing a good job there for PSG as they do look to reclaim their crown over in France and also perform quite well in this season's Champions League. Going back a few clicks, we did bring up before what the ties do look like at the moment. Obviously, with us being in the first half of the draw, not much has gone on yet, but 2-0 wins to both Man United and RB Leipzig at home in the first legs of those ties against teams who did finish on top of their group. So there could be some potential upsets somewhat in those 2 ties, albeit the teams who did finish second in their groups in those ones, probably the bigger name teams. But hopefully today we can get a decent result here in Paris and take that back to Iceland for that second leg in tomorrow's episode. In terms of our team going into this game, no major injury concerns either, so we are at full strength going into this one. We're going to pretty much get straight into the action today for just the one game, the first leg of the first knockout round, as we take on Paris Saint Germain from the Maurizio Pochettino Stadium in Paris. And here are the team sheets for this lone game of today's episode. There are Paris Saint Germain playing a 4-4-2, quite similar to what we did see before on the club info page, and these days pretty much full of new gens. And then we are, as we mentioned before, it is our first choice 11, and also our bench is at full strength as well. And hopefully in the white, we can pick up a decent result here in Pili. And only a few minutes into this game, we have our first highlight here. It is a throw in to us. As mentioned before, we are in the white today, Paris Saint Germain in the traditional blue with the red trim. And we try and get on the front foot here nice and early. Benvenu Bayer pulls the ball just outside the box. Adam Saki, Dumbi, a nice ball there for Saki to try and tuck away, but unfortunately that comes off the base of the upright, so a good chance there nice and early, but it remains 0-0. And nearly up to the 40-minute mark for our next highlight in this one. So it's been a very quiet first half so far. We miss a header there from that corner, but thankfully the shot from Barzola does get blocked. We clear it away, but so far this has been a very, very quiet first half. Not that happy with how we are playing, even though PSG are picking up a few yellow cards, but arguably they have been the better team in this half. More shots, they've actually got a shot on target. And it's been a pretty lackluster first half, all things considered, albeit no players out there on that bad of a rating. So I think we'll just give these guys a little bit of a rev up at halftime, tell them they can certainly do better, but that first half was not up to much. A decent chance of both teams, but neither found the back of the net, and we'll get the second 45 minutes of this first leg underway, still locked up at 0-0. And up to the hour mark, still no highlights in the second half, and we're going to make our first few substitutions. Just a few players out there, not on great ratings. Benvenu Bayer on a 6.5. I think in this case we will bring on the Ballon d'Or winner in Bruno Costa for Bayer, and Doumbia can move into the Mazzala, and also Agatigere not on a great rating out there. Maurizio Menga can come on for him. Something you might notice, quite a few of our players' star ratings have decreased off the back of their end of season breaks. That is something interesting that we might need to keep an eye out on, albeit can't do much at this point of the save. We made two of our substitutions there, still 0-0 with a half hour left. And we go forward to the 69-minute mark for our next highlight. Nice time for when we play a nice ball over the top there for Radenko Krolo in quite a bit of space. There's a slide tackle there on Menga, but thankfully we do keep the ball. Lapase there with a shot, but it does get blocked. We do keep position though, and are still inside the final third. Lapase though with an interesting ball out of play there. Very interesting indeed. And with 20 minutes left, it is still locked up here at 0-0, but certainly the game a lot more even than it was at half time. And I've just noticed now Lassana Doumbia is down to a red heart, so it might be time for us to make our last substitution at this point. Marcelo Jr., very good backup. He can come on for Lassana Doumbia, and hopefully that makes the difference with 15 minutes left, as it's still 0-0. And only a minute off the back of that last substitution, it was their PSG on the attack, but hopefully we can do something here on the counter. That's a really nice touch there from Adam Saki to get beyond his man. Now Gabe with a foul there, already on a yellow card, and PSG late in this one go down to 10 men. Hopefully we can make the most of this. This is a big chance now for us to pick up a win away from home. We'll also tell our guys to get on the attack just a little bit more in terms of their roles, both of our wing backs and also Bruno Costa. We will move to a centre mid on attack and hopefully make the most of that one-man advantage in these last 10 minutes. And just about to enter the last 5 minutes of this game, we have a throw in here right inside the final third. Radenko Krolo will put this one right into the mixer for Saki, back for Menga. Saki back to Krolo, far post there for Lapase, gets a free header, gets a lot of help there from the inside of the post, but thankfully the goalkeeper was caught out by that nice ball over the top by the young Croatian right back, and that does give us finally a 1-0 lead in this game, albeit up until a few minutes ago probably would have taken a 0-0 draw, but with PSG going down to 10 men, that is a big goal. 1-0 Völsungur as we do enter the last few minutes of this one. Still quite an even game, but our shots on target, very, very high XG compared to what PSG have had. And in terms of what we did around the 80-minute mark off the back of that red card, we are certainly starting to get on top of these guys a little bit more in terms of the stats. As you can see in that second half, we really kicked into gear from around about the 50-60 minute mark, but overall that's a solid performance. Certainly not the most entertaining game that we have had, but considering we're a little bit shorter on match fitness compared to what we usually are, at least the last few years have been, for the first leg of this first knockout round in the Champions League, that is a good start, and hopefully going back to Iceland we can make the most of that. With that 1-0 advantage, we'll come back shortly, check in on what the other scores look like off the back of the first leg, and also go down to the Conference League, where we of course have Fylkir and HK in the first knockout round. of that competition. And we have gone forward about a week and a half prior to our second leg against PSG. I thought the big gap in between our most recent League Cup fixture and that second leg in the Champions League, there must be an international break coming up, but actually that is not the case. Not exactly sure why there is such a big gap there in between that next fixture and our most recent ones. But in terms of the League Cup, we have picked up two more pretty convincing wins since that 1-0 win in the first leg over PSG, 3-0 over Keflavik, and 8-0 over Fram. That does mean we are joint top of the group with Glotta, so that game is going to be a big one in determining who goes through this group in top spot. And if we get through the group, hopefully we can round off the domestic side of the save with a win in both this competition as well as the Super Cup. Of course, we're not going to get through an entire league season before this European season does come to an end, but we do have a few updates to give you guys. First off, the transfer window has opened here domestically in Iceland. Haven't done much, obviously, with this being our last half season in charge, but we might be getting rid of one of our young left wingers, Serge Antoine, to Fylkir for a fee of £1 million. Hopefully, he does agree to that. That should give Fylkir a fairly promising player for the next couple of years, or even potentially longer, in this save when we do sim forward a player who doesn't quite have enough potential, I think, to keep hold of him here at Völsungur, especially because I spent a little bit of our transfer budget, not much, potentially not much used to doing this, but it could be useful when we do sim forward a little bit come next week. But we did sign quite a promising left midfielder out of Rosenborg in Norway, and that is Ali Onswan. He is very, very good looking for only 18 years old. He has gone back out to Rosenborg on loan, but he could end up being a very, very good player in the future when we do sim forward in the save. Looks quite suited to that inside forward role that we do use, and quite good attributes already for 18 years old. Absolute bargain. Picking him up for 2.5 million up front with around about £600,000 in add-ons, with the potential that he does have, so he could be a player to keep an eye out on when we do sim forward come some stage of next week. But now we do need to go over and have a look at what has happened at the end of the first leg in the Champions League first knockout round. Barcelona got the better of Hertha Berlin in the other tie on our match day, and going to the bottom half of the draw, Chelsea 2-0 over Inter Milan. Juventus doing an absolute number on Real Madrid with a 4-0 win there. Man City just have the advantage over Bayern Munich by 3-2, and the same can be said for AC Milan over Liverpool, albeit by a scoreline of 2-1. So for the most part, the home teams have done the job there in those first legs. Just us and Chelsea who picked up some results there away from home, and hopefully that puts both of us in a strong position to be going through to the quarterfinals off the back of tomorrow's episode. And while that has been going on, the first knockout round of the Conference League has concluded. Of course, as mentioned earlier, we had both Fylkir and HK down there. And two bits of good news here. Up the top, you can see Fylkir did draw the second leg 1-1, but thankfully picked up a 2-0 win in that first leg, so they go through 3-1 over Starbak out of Norway. And down towards the bottom, HK picked up wins in both legs, 4-2 in the second leg, and that would make it 2-1 in the first leg. They go through 6-3 over Qualabag out of Azerbaijan. So both of the Icelandic teams in the Conference League are going through to the second knockout round, where we can see who their opposition are going to be coming out of finishing top spot in their Conference League group. Fylkir will take on Asker, also out of Norway, so another Norwegian opponent. Hopefully Fylkir can get past those guys, of course, being the defending Conference League champions. And yet again, down towards the bottom, HK, they have been drawn against Göztepe out of Turkey. I also think that is a tie, which hopefully HK can be winning. So hopefully both of those teams can make their way through to the quarterfinals of the Conference League. But that will do it for today's episode. A bit of a short one, but that little gap that we do have in between the first league and the second league does mean that it is pretty much how things do have to play out here in the early stages of the Champions League knockouts. And we'll come back tomorrow and hopefully make our way through that second leg. Otherwise, that will be series over. So hopefully at least we can get past PSG and then see who we do get drawn in the quarterfinals. If you did enjoy today's episode with that 1-0 win in the first leg, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. And until tomorrow for that second leg against Paris Saint Germain and hopefully a quarterfinal draw, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.